So let's dispel a myth utilizing astrology to explain it. And this is presumes you know about astrology, you've observed the reality of astrology. There's some myths in everyday life that people buy into that are completely false. For example, the idea that how someone presents themselves is an indicator of how well they might treat you. Well, it is, but it's actually inverted, right? So, and I'm gonna go through a few of these. Okay, so another one example is like the myth that the way someone is or the way someone treats their home is an indicator of how they might function out in the world, right? Again, it is, but not in the way you would just like think, like just without astrology. When you're just thinking about the mundane level, it's actually the opposite because, again, because the 10th house and the fourth house, the 10th house of out in the world of career, and the fourth house of home, right, are opposing each other. The first example of and this mostly is in the area of human relationships mostly, but the idea that, again, how someone presents, how well they take care of themselves is an indicator of how well they can take care of you. That is only true in the area of finance, and but it's not necessarily true in terms of how they will function in a relationship. And the reason for that is, and the reason so many people get disappointed by what they see and how someone appears, is the first house and the seventh house are opposing each other. The first house of personality, of how you present yourself, etc., and the seventh house of others, of relationships, of the market. Okay, they're opposing each other. So the opposite is actually true. So let's, and the other one I would say is like judging someone's car, for example. I think that's been, I heard it's a common one about like jobs, like, some employer might secretly film you, or sorry, not film you, I'm sorry. They might go or send someone to like check out your car during your interview to like see how well taken care of their car is. Well, what if this person has a really busy third house, which might make them a really strong thinker or like a really good communicator, right? But the house is very busy, and they have a tendency to have a pile of stuff in their car, right? You see, this is how astrology can kind of show you that what happens over here is not necessarily happening over here or over here. Like what's happening in the first house of personality is absolutely not what's happening in the seventh house. Matter of fact, there's an opposition there that's going on, right? So it might be the opposite of what you think, right? And so let's dig into that. So someone presenting really, really well, we're really, really well groomed. You think that's an indicator of how well they take you. Like that's just like surface level, simplistic thinking, right? But the reality is, and if you understand how reality is structured and how the zodiac works, again, this is not deep astrology, guys. This is basic zodiac, right? Houses. The first house being opposed to the seventh house. So the better someone treats themselves might actually be an indicator that they may actually not treat you well. Because whatever energy or planets they have in or aspecting that first house that causes them to take such good care of themselves might actually cause them to not care at all for you, right? They might be so self-absorbed, and then that they have that energy in the first house. So they might be very, very concerned with being how people see them, right? On their grooming, on the personality that they present, right? Might be fake, might be whatever it is. It's actually the way to judge. It's also, guys, a way to judge how someone might be in the bedroom, right? Because, again, I've heard women say this, like guys who take too good care of themselves, like it's a turnoff, and there's a good reason for that because they're smart, and these type of women have strong pattern recognition ability. They've dated these men, and they figured out these men who who are so clean cut, well taken care of, perfect dress, everything. Actually, in reality, they end up treating you like crap, right? So there's that. Um, but yeah, so guys, basic understanding of astrology and the zodiac. Some of the stuff you can just use. You don't need to know all the planets and what this means here in this house and this sign and with this. That stuff gets very, very complicated, and it's fascinating. We should study it, but I think the fundamentals of astrology, like it's good that you can, like, while learning the fundamentals, you can learn stuff like this that apply and will make you wise in everyday life. Okay, so don't judge people too on the surface. Don't assume what's happening over here is happening over there. It should make you more empathic. Okay, that you don't want to judge people from that perspective, right? It should actually make you understand. Here's another thing, like, when you see someone being like angry, they have these angry outbursts, right, during conversation, or they get angry with people who they're in relationships with, friendships or love relationships or whatever. They probably have Mars somewhere in their seventh house and probably conjunct something or aspecting something. Guess where they don't have it? I'm sorry. They might have it in they may also have it in their first house, right? So there's the other thing is, like, actually, if someone has like an abrasive, like, tone, like their personality is like this with everybody, like, like that could be Mars. So you might think, oh, this person's scary, they can't control themselves. But to be honest, the opposite might be true, because the seventh house is relationships. And so if yes, you may have to deal with their loud, angry voice, but in a relationship, they're not necessarily going to project all that energy. If you get deeper in with them and they trust you, right, then this type of person might relax around you and trust you, and they wouldn't be spurting all that Mars aggressive energy at you, right? So guys, life is obviously more complicated. You can't, right, and therefore so is astrology, right? That's what a lot of astrology deniers. They won't dig in deep and actually learn it and then test it. All right, peace out. Hope that was helpful. Follow me for more. I'll talk to you soon.